Hello there, everybody. Today we're going to be presenting you class 49. It's going to be about unusual sports or unknown or more uncommon sports, if you want to say. Hello, my name is Jason Lamb, and I will also be talking about ostrich racing. So, what is it? Ostrich racing is a sport of which primarily originated from Africa, as that is also where ostriches mainly reside. And what is most interesting about the sport is, of course, the fact that people are riding on ostriches. It is mainly being played in, I'd say, probably, I think it was mainly Australian and somewhat African areas. However, there are some places in Nevada and also Minnesota and also some places in Kentucky in Iowa, which still do ostrich racing. However, it's an extremely uncommon sport as ostriches themselves are an extremely rare animal, while horses are a lot more common throughout most of the United States and other countries, meaning that horse racing is a lot more popular of a sport than ostrich racing. Next slide. And just to stem off of that, we're just going to explain a little bit about how ostriches or what ostriches mainly are. And ostriches are just very big birds that are lost their ability to fly. And as I've already mentioned, they are mostly native to Africa. They have extremely long necks and legs, allowing them to run extremely fast, up to 70 kilometers an hour, and their long legs can cover almost 16 feet in just a single stride, meaning that these ostriches have probably one of the fastest speeds of any other bird. However, what makes them extremely dangerous is that just like horses, if they're just like horses, actually even more dangerous than horses, is that it's extremely easy to fall off one of these ostriches, considering that horses are a lot easier to ride in some cases, other than a basically what is an ostrich. You can see in the lower image, you can see how there's somebody like basically falling off of the ostrich because he was too far forward. And that's a major problem because unlike in horseback riding, where the horseback riders can just like hold the horse and like put their heads down and just keep on racing on. In this sort of sport, you have to keep like an equilibrium of balance, or else you're gonna collapse in the ostrich, making it much more dangerous than horseback riding.
I'll be presenting underwater hockey. Underwater hockey is also known as octopush and is where teams push pucks into the opponent's goal. It's basically like regular hockey in underwater. The hockey stick underwater is shorter than the sticks used in hockey. The general rules of hockey applies to in underwater hockey. Players should wear swimming gear to play, such as mask, snorkel, or fins.
So next is basketball, and basketball is a team sports that originated in Spain. It is a game between two teams combining the elements of volleyball, football, and gymnastics with music into a sport. It is played on an inflatable court having two trampolines on each side of the net, and the rules are the team should consist of three players minimum and five players maximum. And when the ball gets served to your side, you only contact the ball three times. The serves or hits can be made using any body parts. In order to win, your team will need to reach 25 points first, and it has to be win by two. And it is played over the best of three or five.
Hi, I'm going to be introducing Sepak Takraw. Next slide, please. So this is a new sport. It's similar to volleyball, where the general rules of volleyball apply in the sport. Three contacts are allowed between three teammates, of which each team who take place at the same time, and then only arms and hands are forbidden, so you can use any other body part. And then Also, unlike volleyball, the same player can make 2 contacts in a row without being penalized.
Underwater rugby. Underwater rugby is an underwater team sport, and teams try to throw a ball filled with salt water, and which will make the ball sink into the opponent's goal at the bottom of the swimming pool. The water can be passed anywhere as long as it doesn't leave the water, and the ball can move through the water for about 2 to 3 meters before it stops. Players can attack each other if they have the ball. And since it's played in a pool with a depth of 3.5 to 5 meters, the game is three-dimensional.
So I'm gonna be talking about three-sided football. So three-sided football started in the 1960s by the Danish situationist Jorn. In this game, 3, not 2 teams would play on the hexagon pitch. They would collaborate rather than merely competing, which means that they decide which rules are allowed and which are not, rather than being controlled by the refs, and they don't have rules, no rules made by the refs. However, this game remained only a concept until 1990s, when Luther in Italy started organizing games. Since then, it has been played in a handful of various countries.
Cycle ball. Next slide. Cycle ball was first introduced in 1893 by Nicholas Edward Kaufmann in Germany. It's similar to association football or American soccer. The rules consist of 2 teams of 2 players, and it's played on a rectangular field around half the size of a basketball court. The basketball, or like the rectangular field, is surrounded by a barrier to prevent the ball from going out of bounds with a goalpost on each side to score. It's played in 2 20-minute periods, and the ball must be moved with only the ball and player's feet must not touch the ground. To win, it's whoever scores the most goals at the end of the period.
All right, I'm Eric. I'll be doing Botashi. All right, so this sport is basically sort of like capture the flag, except it's with poles, and there's 150 people participating in total. So a team of 75 will act as the attacker. The other team of 75 will act as a defender. The attacker tries to topple the pole, and the defenders try to keep the pole up using their bodies. So basically, the defenders would gather around the pole. Whichever way the attackers are attacking, the defenders would try to cover the pole and prevent the pole from falling lower than 30 degrees. Because if it falls lower than 30 degrees, the attackers win. And the match is 2 minutes. If the attackers don't manage it in 2 minutes, they lose. And so what it looks like, the colors of their clothing represent their teams. Like they have different formations. Yeah.
I'll be doing disc golf. The objective of the game disc golf is like traditional golf, but instead with discs instead of balls and clubs. 1 throw/stroke is counted whenever the disc is thrown. The objective is to get the disc inside a chain goal with the least amount of strokes possible. Person with the least amount of strokes wins. Every game starts with a tee throw. The tee throws must be thrown inside a tee designated area. The player with the least amount of strokes from the previous hole gets to tee off on the next hole. After all the players have teed, the player whose disc is farthest away from the goal always throws first.
That's it.